the Yankee Screwdriver. The tool of a true woodwright. Not as clumsy or random as a drill, a more elegant tool from a more civilized time. Hey folks, Wes P. Well, no, not really. Wes with Woody Name Woodworking back again for another story about screwdrivers, because apparently I lied, and I don't really have 106 screwdrivers. I've got more like 107, because pretty much like everybody else, I forgot about this guy. Of course, the Yankee Screwdriver still exists. You can get some pretty nice ones from places like Garrett Wade, or you can get some kind of cheap knockoffs from Amazon. Well, relatively cheap, but these have largely disappeared. And yeah, you can find them, but you'll have to look for them. And honestly, there's probably a good reason they've disappeared. Now, when I started working with my father, one of the first tools he got me was a Craftsman Yankee Screwdriver. Imagine this, but plastic and red. Yeah, like that. Oh, thank you, eBay. And he told me this would be really helpful for installing door hardware and just other random tasks you might run into as a finish carpenter. And by God, did I ever end up installing a lot of door hardware, from hinges and knobs and latches and strike plates and on and on and on. I spent countless hours sitting on an empty joint compound bucket screwing things into doors. And this little guy did come in handy, or, well, not this little guy, but one kind of like that one. And yeah, without a doubt, this Yankee Screwdriver made life a lot easier, but honestly, that's mostly because this didn't exist. Okay, so let's take a look at this Yankee Screwdriver in action and maybe compare it to our Milwaukee Screwdriver and see if we can see what the benefits or advantages, if there are any, to using this Yankee Screwdriver might be, again, in comparison to this guy. That is always so satisfying. Honestly, being able to play Jedi is one of the reasons we should still be using these. Make sure it's going in the right direction. It's loosening. And that'll be tightening. So, here in the center, and we just push down. And there we go. Pretty straightforward, didn't take a lot of effort, and given my lack of upper body strength, that's pretty impressive. Oop. Gotta make sure we have the right bit here. So, let's try with the Milwaukee. Obviously that took no effort whatsoever, though one thing we can note is it kind of sank the screw for us, even though we didn't want it to. Now, we can alter this, of course, by changing kind of the torque of our drill, or changing the torque of our screwdriver. Kind of drove all the way through there. And that's actually kind of one of the disadvantages of this. There's so much power here, it's really easy to kind of overdo it. And yeah, again, you've got these torque settings, but it takes a better person than I to always remember to use them. So let's step it down fairly significantly. Let's try 6 and see what this does for us. Pretty perfect. So, if you remember to set the torque, it's not really an issue. One of the things we keep coming back to with this is if we want to drive something perfectly, we've really got to pay attention to the torque in each case. Whereas with the Yankee Screwdriver, we kind of don't need to do that. It's sort of not aggressive enough that it's going to be overdriven. So no pilot hole here, but able to sink it pretty quickly and pretty easily. So I guess really what it comes down to is, even though this is a really cool tool, because who doesn't want to pretend they're a Jedi Knight, right? Adds to the workday. But a blaster's maybe better. I know Han and Obi-Wan got into an argument over that, but this guy, when handled properly and set up properly, it kind of outclasses this classic old tool in every imaginable way. And I paid like $100 for this thing with battery, not necessarily this battery, but battery and charger and a little carry case. And I'm not saying $100 is cheap, but it's not painful. So this is a tool that is super versatile. I'm happy to take it with me when I go work on my wife's store or fix any kind of instrumentation in the lab or go around to fix friends' houses or any project I'm doing around the house. But even more than that, if somebody wants to borrow it from me, well, I don't worry about it, because the worst comes to worst, it's $100, or I've got the battery and maybe $50, $70 to replace it. And it's done such a good job. So I know this started out as a video talking about these guys and how they're kind of cool and a tool of a more elegant age. And I love them. But this is what I use now, because pretty much in every objective, measurable thing, it wins. So I'm not always sure that newer is better, that technology makes a better tool, that progress in this stuff is always better. But in this case, at least, yeah, it absolutely is. Without a doubt, this is a better tool than the Yankee Screwdriver ever was. Which is not to say I don't think this has its place. I kind of think it does. I think if you're doing something really fine furniture building, something like that, this might be ideal for when you're driving in screws for hinges or hardware or something like that, and you want to make sure that your bit doesn't slip out and mar the finish or poke a hole in this wonderfully expensive piece of wood you've been working with. Or maybe just really turn the torque way down on this guy. I don't know. I think it comes down to personal preference and what you feel comfortable doing. Anyway, folks, greatly appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Are there any kind of old school tools that you prefer over kind of the newer versions? Or do you think the newer version is always better? Or is it really situational? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this. Of course, as always, and every other YouTuber asks you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Later.